Hello everyone and welcome back in my studio. So this week I have been painting a lot of watercolors because I'm trying to experiment more with different layers and textures. Some weeks ago I decided that my work should change because I have been focusing too much on a naturalistic rendering of my subject, and I would like my work to be more suggestive and poetic instead. So I think that by using different materials, I might find the joy of experimenting again. And that is what I have been doing this week. I'll tell you all about my thoughts during a time lapse of this work, and I'll show you also some other things I have been doing this week. So here's the first layer of my watercolor, which is already dried. As you can see, it is a mix of yellow ochre and a bit of cobalt blue in the top. So right now you see me applying the second layer, which is yellow ochre and cadmium yellow, and I'm leaving this opening here in the top right, because I want it to be light and diffuse at the top to surround my focal point. Now with a mixture of ultramarine and rose madder, I am applying a layer of purples for the trees, making sure to get some variation already. So some of the trees in the back are more blue, others are more purple. The trees I'm depicting here should look a little bit like birch trees. So I'm trying to get the base of the trees a bit darker because that's what birch trees or aspen trees look like. And for the rest, this piece is painted entirely from imagination, so there are really no restrictions whatsoever. I'm just letting my imagination flow and making the paint flow with it. I have made a little sketch in advance, which you can check out on my Instagram, where I post most of my work in progress. Some of it I posted as a story, but I'm not really a fan of stories, so most of it you'll just see on my timeline or account. What's it called? I more or less know what my goal is because I made this sketch. But it always looks a bit different in a larger sized work. And this one is pretty large for a watercolor. The paint dries differently, and usually I need more layers to get the same effect I got in the composition sketch. And that's because, especially with hot weather, the paint dries as I apply it on the entire surface. For example, the yellow of the leaves, well, you can't see leaves yet, but I mean the yellow at the base of the trees. You get these nice effects when you paint it small, but when you paint it in a bigger size, then you get you won't get that the same diffuse color. So as one layer dries, I turn to another work, which you see me doing here. This is another piece painted entirely from imagination. And if you are interested, you can see me sketching the composition sketch on a video I placed on Instagram. So my main goal here, this was another piece of experimentation, was to get more abstraction in my work, and that is something I have been struggling with a lot lately. So when I came back from my holidays in Sardinia and France, I felt that, and well, it was already a feeling I had before, I felt that my work was a bit, well, I can't say stiff, but it was too explicit, all of my work. And that's because I have just been trying to paint what I see, and in trying to paint the right colors and the right values, I sometimes forget that it is not always important that what I paint looks exactly like what I see. And by struggling to paint the right colors and values and the right form, then I somehow lose the abstract power I want my work to have. So in these watercolors, I try to focus on the abstractness. I want my work to be layered, but without having to wait too long, and that's why I like watercolor so much. I want my work to have a certain color richness when looking up close, but looking almost graphic when viewed from a distance, hoping that would make my work look a bit more modern than it does now. I'm focusing on work painted from imagination right now, but I would like to work from life as well and apply the same technique. So right here you see me doing other things related to my art business. I am doing a less inspiring task, that of approaching galleries, exploring artist opportunities and prizes, and making a kind of business plan in which I optimistically plan to be more of a networking hero that I really am. And right here, I am typing the draft of a new blog post I placed on my website last week, and the draft I had already written in the train on my way to the studio. So in the afternoon it is art time again. After another wash of yellow to get a stronger color in my composition, I let everything dry again. And then it's time for the fun part, because I turn to soft pastels. And I just love to add soft pastels for more variation in texture. I like the control I have over them because they don't react as randomly as watercolors often do. Plus, I can erase them if they don't work, which you can see me doing a lot right here. For this piece is an experiment, and I am constantly testing the fine line between too little and too much details. By the way, if you are interested, you can read about my plans to change my painting style in my newest blog post you saw me typing just now. I started writing again after almost 2 years. I was planning to do only YouTube videos to share my process with anyone who was interested, but really making these videos for YouTube is quite a lot of work. The video editing takes me so much time, and I don't always have something worth sharing on a video. So I thought I better alternate the videos on YouTube with some blog posts, and I really like to write a lot. So I think that I will do a video and then a blog post and then a video, and so keep it nice for all of us. Here you see me adding some more texture to the tree, and not everything I'm adding it won't all stay there. Most I will erase because it doesn't work or it gets too much. I am working with soft pastels right now. I don't really know the brand because I have this box of colors from my grandma who passed away, and I think there are all kinds of brands in this box. But the watercolors I use right now are still the ones from Daniel Smith. I talked about them in my studio tour, a video I made a long time ago. But I really had to come to the conclusion that I needed much more of these colors than I expected. When I first started with watercolors, I was always using Cotman of Winsor & Newton. But I needed a lot of them as well to get the color richness I was after. And then I thought maybe I should invest in a less cheaper brand. And I went to Daniel Smith, and it was quite a change from Cotman because I needed less. But still, I think I'm off to the shop quite regularly to buy new tubes. So right now I bought, but I didn't use them yet because I still have to finish my old colors. I bought the Winsor & Newton, not the Cotman version, but just the expensive ones. Because I knew I still had this tube of alizarin crimson from Winsor & Newton, and I just needed a little bit, almost nothing, and it would give such a power of color. So yeah, right. I think that from now on I will paint only with those. At least when I finish my old colors. So right here you see me struggling to get the face right. I'm doing this also just from imagination, so it is quite hard. Not only because of that, but also because I want the effect of this little girl, the face of this little girl, to be just as I had in my composition sketch. I want the lightness of her face just to kind of fade away in the lights behind her. without having too much of a hard contrast. The hard contrast is okay, but just in her dress and hair, but not in her face. So right here I'm just adding and testing. Is this too much? Is this okay? Does she look cute or does she look grumpy? So this was a lot of work. And after this recording, I added also something else, but I haven't been able to record that anymore. But it is almost the entire process you see me doing here. I added some leaves, and that was it. But you'll see the finished work in a few seconds and some details of it. I hope you found it interesting to see this process, and I am planning to share many more because I am not done with watercolors yet. I'm actually still working, well, not at the moment, but I'm planning to do so very soon, to continue working at my picture book of the sheep Brebella, which you probably saw on my Instagram or here on YouTube before. And by experimenting with these other watercolors, I hope to become better in the watercolors for my picture book as well. So that's all for today. I hope to see you next time, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.